Let's give the people what they want.
I'm the fucking Joker. I make fucking cool jokes.
So, I watched Joker 2 recently. I feel like I'm not adding anything new by saying that shit was ass. It seems to be the consensus amongst everyone. It's a depressing film and doesn't really have much to say other than fuck you, stop liking Joker, he's a sad man. Out of all aspects of the film, the whole musical part of it all really disappointed me the most. It was the thing that piqued my interest when the film was first announced, but it also seemed to dissuade a lot of people from checking it out. It brought up a question that I've seen a lot as of the last year. Do musicals suck? I don't want to waste any more of my precious time talking about Joker 2. It's a fundamentally flawed film on so many levels, and ultimately does not work as a musical. Outside of a few scenes, it doesn't really feel organic to the story, nor does it really serve to develop any of its already thinly written characters. In my opinion, I believe musicals are inherently vibe-based mediums. Musical sequences serve to further develop characters and story, or at the very least function to illustrate the world and the tone the film is attempting to establish. These defining characteristics of musicals shows a fundamental misunderstanding from Joker 2, as it fails miserably at both. Like, they have the balls to have a courtroom scene, press pause, throw in the Quizler tap dancing, and then play. You could swap that out with fucking Katamari gameplay and it wouldn't make a difference. To answer the question, do musicals suck? I strongly disagree. I think some musicals suck, but I want to break down a couple favorite musicals of mine and what works so well about them. I want to avoid obvious classics like Singing in the Rain and La La Land, as I feel like there's already a ton of discourse about them. I also know Joker 2 is a jukebox musical, and the examples I'm using feature more original songs. I personally haven't seen a ton of jukebox musicals, and cannot speak to the pros and cons of using pre-existing songs to parrot narratives, but I did come across this video by Howard Ho and his exploration of the jukebox musical genre, and I'd highly suggest you check their video out. With that being said, I hope I can encourage you to check these films out, or at the least, convince you that musicals don't actually suck. The bad ones just keep getting in your face. And to explore this, we gotta start with the musical to end all musicals, and something that I think will change your life forever. Excuse me. Okay, this isn't the musical to end all musicals, but I still think it's worthy enough to be talked about. I don't think I have to explain to you what Bob's Burgers is, and that's honestly the best part about the Bob's Burgers movie. If you know who these characters are, you can jump right in. Also, please watch this movie on Disney Plus right now. It's some of the best Bob's Burgers content we've ever gotten, and this movie didn't make a lot of money at the box office. I've seen enough of Bob's Burgers to know that they feature some musical segments, and I do think they're really charming, albeit a little cringy. I don't mean that in a bad way by all means. They're dorky, fun, and enjoyable, but sometimes not for me. When I heard that the Bob's Burgers movie was going to be a musical, I was a little worried it might turn me away. The songs in the film are ultimately so endearing. The animated choreography gives so much physicality to these characters, especially in their little awkward dances. There's only a handful of songs, but I still think the film fits the traditional mold of a musical in the ways that it develops its characters and how it moves the film's story along. The film opens up with the song Sunny Side Up Summer, which I just love so much. It functions as a great overview for who these characters are and the journey they'll take. And of course, it delivers on all these aspects in true Bob's Burgers fashion.
Here's another day I give myself a little diarrhea from the worry and the stressing and the hoping.
Both Bob and Linda emit so much wholesomeness through their dancing, especially in how it shows the generally introverted Bob begin to ease up thanks to Linda's charm. Purely through its musical and visual elements, you can get so much insight into the relationship between these characters and how much they mean to each other. Another chunk of the song introduces the Belcher kids, as well as some of their own arcs that are explored throughout the film, such as Tina's plot to ask Jimmy Pesto Jr. to be her
summer boyfriend. He'll say yes, and then to seal it, shake your rear end.
It's further accentuated by the choreography, with Gene taking those big steps across the sidewalk and the little dance that all the kids do up the stairs. It's all so lovable. Gene's verse is brief, loud, and bombastic, with those blaring horns and booming vocals. Gene isn't given much of an arc throughout the film outside of his but it fits his character as the comic relief. I love how much Louise's verse shows her vulnerabilities, which is all implied through her white lies and visual isolation. It mirrors her journey throughout the film and her attempts to challenge herself, to prove that she isn't just a kid wearing a bunny hat, but someone much more. Her vocals disguise her actual feelings, and it's cool to be able to infer that just through the lyrics and visuals alone.
Some lucky ducks get all the luck, some break their backs to make a buck.
Lucky Ducks is another song in the Bob's Burgers movie that furthers Louise's development. It doubles to give Louise a moment to shine while also referencing those scrappy little orphans from Annie. The choreography here is so charming, man. I don't know how else to say it.
See, they're not cops. Cops don't dance around like that. They dance like this.
The way everyone's bopping up and down, and how Louise fills in the song by popping in between all the adults. Again, the song really serves more as a vehicle for her motivations. She's still trying to challenge that she isn't just a baby, and the film really gives her a moment to shine. I'll be real, the Bob's Burgers movie isn't all that special of a musical, but it radiates so much positivity that it's so hard not to enjoy it all, and it's sure as shit better than anything Joker 2 attempted to do. It's easy to argue that most of the songs here are just padding, fun segments for the sake of having another song, but in my opinion, that's one of the coolest things about musicals. Their whimsicality allows for fun moments like this to entertain while leaving a lasting impact. The genre in of itself gives flexibility in having its logic make as little sense as possible while thrusting forth good vibes. All musicals to some degree have a vibe agenda they're attempting to push, which I feel like Joker 2 is missing. There's such a big disconnection between its musical scenes and its bigger narrative, and that dissonance is so glaringly obvious. We need good vibes, we need a musical that expresses its whimsicality through musicality is Robert Altman's Popeye from 1980. It's not a perfect movie by all means, but it's hard not to acknowledge the playful nature of it all. It lives and breathes creativity. From the amazing on-set production design by Wolf Kroger, the use of cartoonish props and sound effects, its very silly and practically non-existent premise, insane fight choreography, and all of its very comical musical numbers. I'll be real, most of the songs in this movie are very much fluff. They don't really serve to move the story along at all, but I would argue it's still good fluff. It paints a bigger picture of the cartoonish world of Sweet Haven, where Popeye takes place. There's a vast ensemble of characters populating the seaside town, and the ensemble nature of its musicals allow for moments for all the characters to truly shine. There's Popeye, who squints and talks funny and has really big muscles but hates spinach.
I ain't no physicist, but I knows what matters.
Olive Oil, who's clumsy, lovable, and has a cartoonishly high voice.
I am not headed out of town. Don't you see which direction I'm facing?
You're going now, you're facing what? Now you're facing easterly, maybe a little southwest.
There's also the big and brooding Bluto, who is a fucking psychopath murderer that destroys an entire house. And the tax man, who gives everyone arbitrary taxes.
That's 89 cents unlicensed baby tax.
Get out of here.
Who could forget about J. Wellington Wimpy, who steals burgers and makes you pay for them?
I'm buying.
Hey, thanks.
Who's paying? I'm buying, he's paying.
This movie is full of colorful characters, and I love how the musical scenes showcase them. One of my personal favorite musical numbers has got to go to I Am What I Am, performed by Robin Williams as Popeye.
I'm Popeye, the sailor, and I am what I am, what I am, and I am.
Again, it's wholly unnecessary to the plot of the film, but it's still a ridiculously fun song. The song is a centerpiece for Robin Williams to be his weirdest self, and it's a catchy-ass, identity-proclaiming tune.
And I've got a lot of muscle, and I only got one eye, and I never hurt nobody's, and I'll never tell a lie.
Another favorite's got to go to He Needs Me by Olive Oil, who's played by the ever-charming Shelley Duvall. Her silly and high-pitched performance is paired perfectly with the hopelessly romantic ballad of the song.
He needs me, he needs me, he needs me, he needs me.
The whole film just oozes charm, and that's thanks to some masterful performances by these two.
What kind of name is that anyway? Popeye. Pretty strange.
What kind of name is olive oil? Sounds like some kind of lubricants.
I don't really have much else to dissect in this film. It's a damn fun musical and pretty much all vibes, and there's nothing wrong with that. I want to talk about Joker 2 as little as possible because it's objectively a bad movie. But the musical moments in those movies provide zero moments like this, okay? It's all meaningless fluff. Its musical scenes feel at odds with the seriousness of the plot. It's nothing. It does nothing. It's a sad fucking movie that bathes in its self-righteousness and does nothing new for the character other than to feel sorry for him and to lush over Todd Phillips' stupid-ass directing choices, Joaquin Phoenix acting good, and Lady Gaga, despite her functioning as a two-dimensional manic pixie dream girl. Let's talk about a better movie. The Muppet Movie is an incredibly charming film, and one that's bolstered narratively through its musical sequences. If you know me, you know how much I fucking love this movie. The film explores the fictional origin story of how the Muppets came to meet, framed through the screening of a fictional movie. The framing device sets a humorous precedent in true Muppets fashion.
We're here to heckle a Muppet movie.
I love how much of the film balances humor with some truly thought-provoking songs, and that's thanks to the imagination of Jim Henson and some brilliant songwriting from Paul Williams. At a glance, it's kind of crazy to begin a feature-length Muppet movie with a song like Rainbow Connection. After all, it's these Muppets we're talking about. We start off with a wide shot, floating omnisciently through the clouds before slowly settling on a close-up of Kermit and his little banjo singing. Again, knowing how energetic and eccentric these little guys are, it's a little jarring to get such a vulnerable insight into Kermit as a character, but it does a fantastic job establishing the odyssey our friendly frog will set forth on to become rich and famous in Los Angeles. In an interview with Paul Williams, he cited his inspiration for Rainbow Connection.
Kermit is like every frog. He's the Jimmy Stewart of frogs. So how do we show that he's a thinking frog, and that he has an introspective soul and all that good stuff? It just seemed like it would be a place where he would see a rainbow. But we also wanted to show that he would be on this spiritual path, examining life and the meaning of life.
What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing?
It's hard not to use basic words when describing this song, but its central focus is in our dreams and aspirations, and how illusory they seem to be. Yet, it's something we can't help but chase after. It's in our sleep, in our dreams, and even calls out to us to pursue them. These lyrics are something I think most people can resonate with. How we continually question the journey we're on, and if we're really on the right path for ourselves. It underscores the movie's entire premise, and provides a peek into these characters' minds and motivations. Something I would like to remind you a good musical does. These are characters that yearn after the seemingly unachievable, yet by the end they manage to meet Orson Welles and sign a rich and famous contract.
It's Tracy.
Moving right along.
I love Moving Right Along. It functions similarly to I Am What I Am from Popeye, where it's not entirely necessary, it's still an overall rollicking good time about a frog and a bear seeing America.
Yes, sir. Turn left at the fork in the road. Turn left. I don't believe that.
Their road trip buddy dynamic parallels their pursuit of something bigger. It literally moves the plot right along, while developing more of the humorous dynamic between Kermit and Fozzie.
Yeah, Storm is right. Should it be snowing? No, I don't think so.
I don't really have much else to say about this song. It just fucking rocks, man.
2, 3, 4.
Can you picture that as a goddamn banger, okay? I love how it's set up as functionally one big joke, as the Electric Mayhem gang is supposed to be helping Kermit and Fozzie disguise their car by painting over it in bright, noticeable colors, before immediately blending into a billboard.
I don't know how to thank you guys. I don't know why to thank you guys.
Its lyrics further develop the overall theme of dreams, adding more to the ideas laid out by Rainbow Connection. Each song in the Muppet Movie builds upon the last, expanding upon what it means to pursue a seemingly impossible dream when all the odds are against you. Can you picture that? Says fuck profit, man, we're just here to vibe. It emboldens Kermit and Fozzie's quest to achieve those dreams, and to hopefully believe in themselves along the way. It does so in such a positive and colorful way. Like, you literally can't wipe away that huge grin off your face while listening to this.
Use it if you need it. Don't forget to feed it. Can you picture that?
A huge emotional mic drop in the Muppet Movie is performed by Gonzo in the song I'm Going to Go Back There Someday. It's something that, again, feels somewhat out of place in a Muppet movie, but provides some surprising insight into one of the Muppets' most comical characters. It directly mirrors the plot of the film. The gang is at a snag in their plans of reaching LA, with their dreams feeling so out of reach. But out of all the Muppets, it's the great Gonzo that stands out as the quintessential dreamer amongst his peers. The man who canonically has sex with a chicken, who wants to travel to Bollywood to become a movie star.
We picked up a weirdo.
He's sad, yet hopeful in his delivery. He's the only one that sees the possibility, even when it seems so absurd. It just feels so heartbreaking, while simultaneously motivating.
To love like invisible string.
There's a line in the song that just resonates with me so much.
There's not a word yet for old friends who've just met. Part.
Dave Goelz, the Muppet performer of Gonzo, provided some insight for the song.
It's a wistful song about those rare moments of weightlessness. Times when everything is perfect. Times we yearn to return to. But ultimately, it's about finding our place in the world. Finding soulmates and trying to achieve a state of grace.
I want to finish this video off with one of my favorite musical finales of all time. Something so iconic, even fucking Eric Andre copied it. The Magic Store is the delightful culmination of all the ideas the Muppet movie explores, about its themes of aspirations and dreams. It's ultimately an ode to being your weirdest self, and encouraging in its call to action of chasing those wild dreams.
What was once juvenile-ish
Is grown up and stylish.
You're close to your dream.
The song celebrates creativity, and emboldens those same weirdos to go after what you want in life. There are people out there that believe in you, in chasing the unimaginable. The film ends with those silly Muppets we've come to know and love, by exploding everything and leaving a path of destruction, before something beautiful happens.
Life's like a movie, write your own ending. Keep believing, keep pretending. We've done just what we've set out to do.